Nobody thought the ocean was this deep. So all of a sudden we've got scientists saying, why is that?
Mariana Trench?
Yeah.
That is the deepest, because that's where the deepest part of the ocean is.
Yeah, Mariana Trench is long. It's about 1,500 miles long, and there's a part of it called the Challenger Deep that's the deepest place on our planet.
The Mariana Trench is Earth's deepest shadow, and something inside it just blinked. For decades, this crushing black abyss has remained silent, untouched, and largely uninterested in our curiosity. Until now, a mystery once buried under 7 miles of pressure has finally cracked open. And what surfaced is not triumph. It's a sobering reminder that even the darkest corners of our planet aren't beyond reach. You might think the danger lies in what we don't know down there. But the real shock? It's what we've already left behind. Before we explain the discovery, there's one detail hidden in plain sight that might change how you see the ocean forever. The silence that screamed. In 2014, researchers conducting acoustic surveys in the Mariana Trench recorded a strange and unexplained sound. Lasting between 2.5 and 3.5 seconds, the 5-part vocalization started with a low moan and ended with a high-frequency twang that reached up to 8,000 hertz. This unique pattern quickly earned the nickname biotwang among scientists. But what made it truly remarkable wasn't just its structure, it was the complete absence of a confirmed source. Despite years of marine biological studies, no known whale or geological activity had ever produced anything quite like it. The sound was consistent, recurring, and came from one of the most inaccessible locations on Earth. The lack of visual confirmation fueled growing speculation. Was it a malfunction in recording equipment, a rare marine phenomenon, or something more unusual? Because the Mariana Trench is so deep, nearly 36,000 feet, and difficult to access, there were no camera images or direct sightings to pair with the recordings. Theories circulated. Some researchers leaned toward an undiscovered species, possibly a type of baleen whale. Others wondered whether the sound could point to unknown geological processes deep below the seafloor. And beyond scientific communities, more imaginative theories began surfacing. Could this be a sign of extraterrestrial presence in the ocean? While there was never any evidence to support such claims, the complete lack of answers allowed these rumors to grow. However, the coming years included attempts to pinpoint the origin of that sound to its true source with the calls of marine animals. A study in the year 2016 from Oregon State University claimed that such sound could be a new type of vocalization from a baleen whale, but there was no direct evidence, so it remained a supposition. Things got troublesome because of the strange nature of the sound. Even the most seasoned marine biologist admitted to its failure to match the acoustic profile of any known species. It was used as a case study of the challenges that the whole ocean exploration had, where the years turned into decades without the ability to address the simple question, the source of the noise. Up until very recently, the advancement of acoustic monitoring and AI-assisted data analysis technology was brought on board by scientists for revisiting old recordings. NOAA and its cooperating institutions were sufficiently outfitted with large databases and newly developed detection techniques to be able to analyze biotwangs much deeper than before. Presently, Bride's whales are the most likely contributors identified, according to more extensive sightings and the correlated recordings. But still, it raises questions. Why is the call structure so different from those of a typical Bride's whale? Why is it so concentrated in this region? The silence for the last 10 years was not the absence of sounds, it was the scientific community waiting for their tools to catch up with their curiosity. And now, the mystery that once echoed in the depths is starting to make sense. And if the sound itself raised eyebrows, wait until you see where it came from, because this place makes Mars look familiar. The deepest point on Earth, the Mariana Trench, located in the western Pacific Ocean, is the deepest known part of Earth's seafloor. Its most famous point, Challenger Deep, descends to nearly 36,000 feet, over 7 miles beneath the ocean surface. To put that in perspective, it's deeper than Mount Everest is tall. No sunlight reaches this depth, and temperatures hover just above freezing. The pressure is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level, enough to crush unprotected equipment in seconds. Very few human-operated submersibles have ever made the journey, and fewer than 24 people have visited its bottom. Compared to Mars, which has hosted dozens of rovers and orbiters, the Mariana Trench remains vastly less explored and less understood. The trench's physical conditions alone make it a uniquely hostile environment. The darkness is total and permanent. Oxygen levels are extremely low. Food sources are scarce, relying mostly on what's known as marine snow, organic particles slowly falling from shallower waters. With such scarcity, life here must be exceptionally adapted. The region's steep slopes, tectonic activity, and isolated basins create microhabitats that may differ dramatically from one another. This environmental fragmentation further complicates exploration, making systematic study difficult. For much of the scientific community, the trench is still a black box. We know it exists, but we barely understand what's inside. Despite these challenges, the trench has consistently drawn attention because of its mysterious nature. Its remoteness, lack of visibility mean that sounds or signals recorded there often go unexplained for long periods. When researchers first detected the biotwang in 2014, the trench's extreme conditions contributed to the confusion. There were simply too many unknowns. Could the sound be linked to volcanic activity or subduction zone shifts? Could unknown organisms be making calls we've never heard before? These weren't unscientific questions, they were necessary ones, grounded in the reality that the trench holds more gaps in knowledge than answers. In recent years, technological advancements have started to bridge some of those gaps. Unmanned deep-sea vehicles and passive acoustic monitoring tools have increased our access to the Hadal Zone, the part of the ocean that lies below 6,000 meters. But even with this progress, the Mariana Trench remains one of the most enigmatic places on Earth. Its inaccessibility isn't just a physical barrier, it's a scientific frontier. The fact that we still know so little about it, despite decades of oceanography, is a reminder of how much of our own planet remains hidden. If life can persist under such conditions, what else could exist there? Still undetected, still unheard. The soundtrack of the unknown. When the biotwang was first recorded in 2014, scientists were struck by how unnatural it sounded. The noise unfolded in 5 distinct parts: a low-frequency moan, a rapidly modulating middle segment, and a high-pitched crescendo that ended abruptly. It lasted only a few seconds, but its pattern was so unusual that researchers couldn't fit it into any known category of marine life sounds. In fact, the sound's mechanical, almost synthetic quality led to comparisons with science fiction sound effects, especially those from Star Wars and Star Trek. The resemblance wasn't just casual. The biotwang bore an eerie similarity to the kind of artificial noises used in films to mimic alien technology, causing some to question whether the source could really be natural. What made the sound even more puzzling was its clarity and repetition. It didn't just appear once, it was detected multiple times, across months, in the same general region of the Mariana Trench. That consistency ruled out many natural seismic events or mechanical malfunctions. Unlike one-off sounds caused by submarine landslides or tectonic activity, the biotwang repeated with a pattern, suggesting it was likely biological. But if it came from a living creature, what kind? It didn't match any cataloged vocalization from known deep-sea whales, fish, or invertebrates. For years, scientists were left with no direct visual or behavioral link to any animal. Some speculated it might be a call from a species never previously recorded. Others questioned whether deep-sea life might use sound in ways not yet understood, perhaps for navigation, territory, or communication in a dark, high-pressure world. Because of the biotwang's high-pitched element, there was also uncertainty about whether it could travel effectively through such dense water. Typically, low-frequency sounds travel further in the ocean, which added more confusion about the sound's possible function and origin. Was it a mating call? A location beacon? A defensive signal? None of these questions had satisfying answers. Without visuals or correlated behavior, the sound remained detached from any ecological context. For nearly a decade, the biotwang remained a scientific anomaly. Its pattern was distinct enough to be recognized, but its source eluded identification. The fact that it originated from the Mariana Trench, a location already known for its extreme inaccessibility, only deepened its mystique. While researchers gradually leaned toward a biological explanation, the lack of direct evidence allowed more imaginative theories to flourish. Was it evidence of a previously unknown species? Could it be a form of deep-sea communication never before documented? While such questions remain open, what's clear is that the biotwang represents a rare case in science where sound alone sustained a mystery. It became not just an unexplained recording, but a symbol of how much about the deep ocean remains beyond human understanding. The bride's revelation. After nearly a decade of speculation, a breakthrough finally arrived in the form of improved acoustic monitoring and field observations. A team led by researchers at NOAA and supported by Oregon State University reanalyzed years of deep-sea audio data, this time integrating visual surveys from the Mariana Archipelago. Their findings suggested a strong correlation between the mysterious biotwang sounds and the presence of bride's whales, a medium-sized baleen whale species typically found in warmer tropical oceans. This marked the first time the biotwang had been confidently linked to a known species, moving the mystery out of the realm of speculation and into verifiable science. What surprised many researchers was that bride's whales had not previously been associated with this specific type of vocalization. Unlike the more commonly studied blue or humpback whales, bride's whales are elusive and poorly understood, especially when it comes to their acoustic behavior. The biotwang's structure, its rapid frequency shifts and high-pitched ending, doesn't match typical whale calls recorded in shallower regions. This raises an important question. Could the bride's whales, living near the Mariana Trench, represent a distinct, possibly region-specific population with unique vocal traits? If so, these calls might serve a specialized function in their deep ocean habitat, where communication and navigation face extreme environmental barriers. To support their hypothesis, scientists analyzed instances where bride's whales were visually confirmed in the vicinity of sonobuoys capturing biotwangs. In 9 out of 10 sightings, the same sound pattern was detected shortly before or during the whale encounters. While this doesn't constitute absolute proof, the consistent overlap between sightings and recordings is considered strong circumstantial evidence. The researchers also ruled out other possible sound sources, including mechanical interference and alternative species, strengthening the case for a biological origin. Still, the unique nature of the sound raises additional questions about whether it's a contact call, a mating signal, or part of a more complex communication system. The confirmation of the source does not fully resolve the mystery. It merely redirects it. Why do these whales use a call so different from others in their species? Why is the biotwang heard mostly in the Mariana region? And what role does it play in bride's whale behavior? These questions now shape the next phase of research. Rather than ending the story, the identification of bride's whales as the likely source marks a new beginning in understanding deep-sea communication. It's a reminder that even when a mystery is solved, nature often leaves us with another one waiting just beneath the surface. AI and the ghosts of the deep. Solving the biotwang mystery wasn't just about luck or a sudden breakthrough. It was the result of years of technological advancement, particularly in acoustic monitoring and artificial intelligence. Traditional marine research methods had hit a wall when it came to analyzing deep-sea sounds like the biotwang. The extreme conditions of the Mariana Trench made in-person observation nearly impossible, and earlier recordings lacked the resolution and context to allow for meaningful conclusions. That changed when researchers began feeding thousands of hours of underwater audio into machine learning systems capable of identifying patterns that the human ear might miss or misinterpret. The team at NOAA and Oregon State University used a combination of passive acoustic monitoring tools and AI-based classification algorithms to comb through historical sound archives collected from various parts of the North Pacific. These datasets were massive, spanning several years and covering vast underwater regions. AI models trained on known whale vocalizations were able to isolate the recurring biotwang patterns and, more importantly, match them to time-stamped whale sightings. This process revealed a consistent overlap between biotwang recordings and the presence of Bride's whales, particularly in the Mariana Archipelago. Without artificial intelligence, this kind of correlation would have taken years, if not decades, to detect manually. One of the most significant strengths of using AI in this context is its ability to process uncertainty. The software didn't just confirm what was already suspected, it flagged outliers, isolated the key audio signatures, and even helped rule out false positives like ship engine noise or seismic activity. Researchers cross-validated the AI's findings with visual and environmental data, reinforcing the credibility of the results. This new model of investigation, where machines assist human scientists in parsing complex natural phenomena, demonstrates how marine biology is entering a new era of precision and speed, especially in places as remote and inaccessible as the Hadal Zone. Still, there are limits. While AI helped connect the biotwang to Bride's whales, it couldn't explain why the whales make these sounds or what the calls mean. The technology is a powerful analytical tool, but interpretation still requires human insight and further fieldwork. Scientists are now turning to autonomous underwater vehicles and long-duration ocean sensors to gather even more context around these acoustic signatures. The ghosts of the deep, once just strange noises in the dark, are now traceable, classifiable, and, increasingly, understandable. It's a testament to how the right tools can turn mystery into knowledge without abandoning the rigor that science demands. Just as technology pulled one mystery into focus, another emerged from the sediment, far smaller, far stranger, and possibly more important than we ever imagined. An alien world in plain sight. While the biotwang mystery drew public attention, a parallel discovery in the Mariana Trench quietly rewrote much of what scientists thought they knew about microbial life on Earth. An extensive international research effort, led by institutions including Shanghai Jiao Tong University and Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, delved into the trench's Hadal sediment layers. What they found was astonishing. 89.4% of the microbial species identified had never been reported before. These weren't just slight genetic variations, they were entirely novel organisms, many of which showed unique adaptations that made them capable of surviving in complete darkness, at pressures over 1,000 times atmospheric levels, and in extremely limited nutrient conditions. These microbes, collected during deep-sea expeditions between 6,000 and nearly 11,000 meters deep, represent a form of life so alien in behavior and biochemistry that researchers have described the Mariana Trench as more biologically foreign than some regions of outer space. Unlike surface microbes that often rely on photosynthesis or plant-based ecosystems, these deep-sea microorganisms survive by metabolizing chemicals released from Earth's crust or by feeding on marine snow, the organic particles drifting down from above. Their genomes show signs of intense evolutionary pressure, with streamlined or highly versatile strategies emerging to cope with the trench's extreme and fluctuating environment. The study's scale was unprecedented. More than 1,100 sediment samples were sequenced, generating over 92 terabases of genetic data, a dataset larger than most previous global deep-sea surveys combined. Advanced metagenomic analysis revealed not only new bacterial lineages, but also unfamiliar viruses and archaea, suggesting the existence of a deep-sea microbial network with functions not yet fully understood. Some species appeared to be capable of nitrogen fixation or sulfur cycling in ways never previously observed. Others displayed stress response mechanisms, such as enhanced antioxidation, that help resist DNA damage caused by pressure and low temperature. These traits don't just help life persist, they may reveal principles of adaptation applicable to biotechnology, medicine, or even space exploration. Perhaps the most striking implication is that Earth's biosphere has hidden ecosystems so fundamentally different from surface life that they may serve as analogs for life beyond our planet. If microbes can thrive in such extreme isolation and pressure, could similar organisms exist beneath the icy crusts of Europa or Enceladus? While the trench is on our own planet, it mirrors the conditions of distant, unlit worlds. And now that these species are catalogued in public genomic databases, future research may begin to decipher their evolutionary history and biological potential. The Mariana Trench, once viewed as a void, has revealed itself to be a teeming alien world, hidden in plain sight just beneath the waves. Life's repeated answer. In one of the most surprising revelations from recent Mariana Trench studies, scientists uncovered strong evidence of convergent evolution among species that are not closely related, but share identical genetic adaptations. Deep-sea fish like snailfish and amphipod organisms, separated by tens of millions of years of evolution, were found to possess nearly identical molecular mutations that help them survive under the crushing pressures of the Hadal Zone. These adaptations include changes in genes related to protein folding, membrane structure, and cellular stress response. It's not the similarities in body shape that stand out, but the uncanny alignment of internal biochemical solutions, as if evolution keeps reaching for the same tools to solve extreme challenges. Researchers believe this convergence reflects the limited number of viable biological strategies for surviving in an environment where pressure exceeds 1,000 atmospheres and temperature rarely rises above 2 degrees Celsius. Some of these adaptations involve production of trimethylamine N-oxide, TMAO, a molecule that stabilizes proteins under pressure, and alterations in enzymes that prevent cellular damage in the absence of sunlight. What's striking is that these species evolved these solutions independently, from different evolutionary paths, yet ended up at the same functional destination. This suggests that under similar environmental constraints, life may repeatedly choose certain genetic answers, almost like hitting the same keys on different instruments to produce the same tune. This insight doesn't just deepen our understanding of evolution on Earth, it raises broader questions about the nature of life in the universe. If evolution converges under specific conditions, could alien life, on planets with similar pressures, darkness, or chemical composition, also arrive at similar forms or functions? It reframes astrobiology. Perhaps life elsewhere isn't as wildly different from Earth life as often imagined, especially if physical laws and environmental challenges limit the range of successful adaptations. The Mariana Trench, in this way, becomes more than a deep hole in the ocean. It's a biological mirror, reflecting how life might look beyond our world. As scientists continue to sequence genomes from Hadal creatures and compare them across taxa, patterns of convergence keep emerging. Fish, in completely separate trenches, oceans apart, exhibit the same pressure-resistant mutations. This repeatability in evolution offers a rare level of predictability in biology, a field usually defined by chance and randomness. It also emphasizes how little we truly understand about evolutionary limits. Are there only a few viable ways to survive in the deep ocean or in any harsh environment? The answers may not just reshape evolutionary theory, but also offer the clearest roadmap yet for what to expect as we search for life in the dark corners of our own solar system. The pressure that shapes us. The Mariana Trench is more than just a geological feature. It's a proving ground for life under the most extreme conditions on Earth. At depths exceeding 10,000 meters, pressures soar past 1,000 times what we experience at sea level. For organisms that survive here, adaptation is not optional. It is mandatory and continuous. Across species, from Bride's whales that dive deep into the Hadal Zone to amphipods and snailfish that live near the seafloor, evolution has produced extraordinary biological modifications. These adaptations aren't just survival mechanisms, they represent a form of biological engineering that stretches the limits of known life. Deep-sea snailfish, for example, possess unusually fluid cell membranes and specialized enzymes that maintain their structure despite immense compression. Their bodies are almost gelatinous, lacking traditional bone density found in shallower waterfish. This reduction in skeletal structure is a direct adaptation to avoid damage under pressure. Similarly, amphipods, small crustaceans, often found scavenging on the seafloor, generate pressure-resistant proteins and antioxidants that stabilize their cellular components in the cold, high-pressure environment. These adaptations help prevent oxidative stress, which can be fatal under such harsh conditions. Even whales, which are typically seen as surface mammals, reveal physiological changes linked to their deep dives. Species like Bride's whales exhibit modifications in their oxygen storage and muscle structure, allowing them to function during long, high-pressure descents. Some research suggests that their blood chemistry and mitochondrial efficiency may be optimized for these dives. While they don't spend permanent time at hadal depths, like snailfish, the fact that such large mammals can repeatedly enter and exit these zones without harm is a testament to the versatility of mammalian biology when pushed by evolutionary need. Collectively, these examples point to a unified story. Pressure is not just a force, it is a sculptor of life. Every adaptation, from cellular tweaks to whole-body transformations, reflects the intense natural selection happening in the ocean's depths. Studying these species provides insight into the underlying principles that govern extreme life biology. It also has practical implications. Understanding how proteins and enzymes remain stable at high pressure could influence biotechnology, medicine, and even materials science. In many ways, the creatures of the Mariana Trench are living blueprints of resilience, engineered not by design, but by necessity. Polluted at the edge of the world. Despite its remoteness and seemingly untouched depths, the Mariana Trench is not immune to human impact. Scientists examining amphipods collected from the trench have made a sobering discovery. These deep-sea creatures, living nearly 11 kilometers below the surface, contain high concentrations of persistent organic pollutants, POPs, such as PCBPs, polychlorinated biphenyls, and PBDE, polybrominated ethers. These are industrial chemicals banned decades ago in many countries, but continue to circulate in the environment due to their durability. The fact that they've settled into the world's deepest marine ecosystem highlights just how far our contamination has spread, reaching places that few humans have ever seen. The pollutants likely arrive through multiple channels. Marine snow, tiny particles of dead organic matter that fall from upper ocean layers, acts as a carrier, slowly sinking and bringing surface-level contaminants into hadal depths. Additionally, plastic waste breaks down into microplastics that are consumed by smaller organisms and move up the food chain. Studies have found microplastic fragments embedded in sediment and within the guts of trench-dwelling animals. These particles, once thought too dense or large to sink so deep, are proving to be surprisingly mobile in the ocean's vertical system. The trench, long considered an isolated realm, is now understood as a final resting place for some of the planet's most toxic waste. What's particularly disturbing is that some of these chemicals appear to biomagnify in the trench's unique food web. Because energy is scarce and food chains are short, contaminants quickly accumulate in apex scavengers like amphipods and other invertebrates. Scientists have recorded levels of PCBs in Mariana Trench species that are higher than those found in some of the most polluted rivers in China. This challenges the assumption that remoteness equals protection. In reality, the trench acts as a sinkhole for global pollution, a stark reminder that no place on Earth is truly isolated from human activity. This discovery reframes the Mariana Trench not just as a frontier of biological and geological curiosity, but also as a silent witness to our environmental legacy. It forces us to confront a painful truth. Even the deepest corners of the planet are not beyond the reach of our waste. The presence of banned chemicals and microplastics in such a remote ecosystem raises urgent questions about how we manage pollution, what truly constitutes environmental protection, and whether we can ever clean up what we've already sent down. In a place defined by darkness and silence, this pollution speaks volumes. Long before we understood its biology, the trench had already been recording something deeper, something about us. The trench as oracle. The Mariana Trench is often described as Earth's final frontier, but it may be more accurate to call it a mirror. What we've uncovered in its depths over the past decade isn't just a collection of rare sounds, bizarre creatures, and extreme adaptations. It's a reflection of our planet's most persistent questions. From the unexplained biotwang to the discovery of alien-like microbes and the shocking presence of human pollutants, the trench forces us to reconsider the limits of life, the reach of our actions, and the future of exploration itself. It doesn't just hide mysteries, it embodies the contrast between what we hope to find and what we've already lost. In many ways, the trench speaks to two conflicting realities, one of wonder and one of warning. On one hand, it offers hope that life can exist and adapt in places previously considered inhospitable. On the other hand, it quietly warns us that no environment is beyond our influence. The presence of pollutants in the most remote, high-pressure environments on Earth is not just a scientific data point, it's a moral failure. The trench doesn't yell at us, it doesn't protest, but in its silence, it delivers a profound message. If we've contaminated even here, what haven't we touched? What's more, the trench challenges how we think about discovery. We often approach unknown places with the assumption that knowledge alone is progress. But what the Mariana Trench shows is that discovery without responsibility has consequences. Solving mysteries like the biotwang or mapping new microbial species is undeniably valuable. But what are we doing with that knowledge? Are we applying it to protect what remains? Or are we simply cataloging wonders on our way to degrading them? The trench forces us to confront a question scientists rarely ask outright. Will knowing more actually make us act better? Ultimately, the Mariana Trench is not just a destination for explorers, it's a philosophical turning point. Its depths hold answers to ancient biological puzzles, yes, but they also spotlight modern ethical dilemmas. How do we reconcile curiosity with care? Advancement with accountability? The trench may never give us those answers directly, but it's clear that its role is larger than science. It's an oracle, revealing how far we've come, what we've ignored, and how much more we need to learn. The real mystery isn't what's down there, it's whether we'll listen to what it's already trying to tell us. If this journey into the abyss left you thinking twice about what's really hiding in our oceans, don't stop here. Hit the like button if you learned something new. Drop a comment with your thoughts or questions, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a deep dive like this again. And if you're ready for the next chapter, go ahead and click the video on your screen now. Trust us, what comes next might surprise you even more.